Hi, welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, May 22nd of 2025. I'm Gio Benacourt, and this is a recording done by Vantage Markets about an hour prior to the USA session open. And what a session are we going to be having today? Look, the bond market is the older, wiser sibling of the stock market, and it doesn't often have a moment. But when it does, watch out. Investors were rattled yesterday after an auction revealed weaker demand for the 20-year treasuries than expected. In other words, buyers are demanding higher returns to lend the government money, which reveals that they see those loans as riskier than before. The price of longer-term bonds has been falling more than shorter-term ones, suggesting that inflation may be faster in the future and that the Federal Reserve will have to keep interest rates higher in the future. The Fed's expanding budget bill making its way through Congress implies that the government will have to borrow even more money, which will increase supply faster than demand. The bond market has recent form in following President Donald Trump playing a key role in his decision to pause tariffs for 90 days last month. The bigger problem is that U.S. government bonds are usually the safest investment possible. They don't look that safe anymore. That's the reason stocks fell back yesterday, because sentiment is contagious. Meanwhile, Bitcoin hit a record high yesterday and continued rising overnight, probably because two of the crypto bull arguments prevailed, even though they contradict each other. Crypto can be both a safe haven, and its sensitivity to risk sentiment means it can make big gains. Gold is also still trading close to record highs, but the market isn't panicking, it's just readjusting. The benchmark 10-year bond yield is higher than it was, but not too elevated by historical standards. Stocks are about flat on the year so far. It's normal for actions in parts of the market to reverberate to other asset classes, but bonds are the bedrock. When they cause a tremor, it can feel like an earthquake for stocks and Bitcoin. So, with that being said, let's take a look at what we can speculate for today's market fluctuation. Well, we're seeing that the market had a previous push to the upside, but quickly continued its lower trajectory. So we are entering a second day of lower highs and lower lows so far. Should we be closing also within our levels of support, then we can speculate that we are entering a downtrend. However, obviously we are very close to that all-time high, but again, going with the market momentum or sentiment, which is lower. So let's see if today we will be revisiting, obviously trading below that psychological value of 21,000 and revisiting that low of May 13th. That's something that we can speculate will happen. Again, we could also see a rebound of that 21,000 psychological support level and rebound to the upside again. But obviously, we need to wait to see what will happen. As we open today, we'll be opening, now we'll be opening to the downside. Then we have the S&P, which has basically broken our two levels of support. So therefore, I'm going to look at values like 5780 to be a level of support. And then we have the medium or the 20-day moving average, which sits right below the open of that gap up that it opened on May 12th. We also have the 50-day moving average. So what can we expect? Where can we come in and figure out a level of probable support? And I'm going to use basically 5730. I'm going to look at 5730. And basically, it'll be right around the middle of this gap up. So and it's a psychological value number around 57.30. Then for resistance for the S&P 500, 57.80 was a level that the market was coming towards to, but he found resistance prior to. So I'm gonna choose that, and then I'm gonna choose a swing low. Okay, which swing low means a level of support. Now that the market is below it, it acts as a level of resistance. Then the Dow Jones Industrial. So here, this where we find that the 50 and the 20 are about to intertwine. That could be a nice level of support. And then 41,000, it seems quite bearish. But then again, if you look at this movement, this candle moved 857 points. Okay, so if we were to obviously fluctuate towards our level of the 50-day moving average, which is 41,607, that'd be only 600 points that the market will have to move from here to the 41,000, and yes, it moved. Now, is it going to move that amount? I don't know. Nobody knows. But I am going to use the same criteria for the S&P, that swing low. So let's see, let's continue moving lower. Then crude oil yesterday, after a strong swing high that it had, I mean, that was a particular move to the upside. You know, that longer upper shadow on this daily candlestick chart signaled an upside failure, you know, the recovery high, which was posted back on April 23rd. Let's see where April 23rd would be. April 23rd, May, April 23rd, somewhere around here. So it basically had that same momentum, right? Now, because of what's happening, and because of that strong move, that movement to the downside of the Nasdaq, the location of both bearish reversals is critical, and they occur every close to the to swing losses. So they basically have broken support, and it switches to resistance, capping the upside. So in addition, the acceleration lower in that April resolved a large descending triangle, which is not shown, but $60 is a psychological round value for support. And then from here, 59.40, just give it another round value. As for the upside, $62, again, round value. And then this kind of like the top here, the wicks, swing highs. So there we go. Resistance 1, resistance 2, support 1, support 2. So let's see if today it will just be idling, just sideways trading. That could be happening. Nat Gas, well, after swinging higher almost to the 350, it did just retraced and trending lower now. So I'm gonna use 340 as my first level, then 350 as my second. I'm gonna leave 322 as a probable level of support, and then just 315 second level of support. So another leg down. Gold, well, gold has made a pretty wild swing, hitting our first level of resistance and just retracing quickly. It went as low as the medium or the 20-day moving average, and it's retracing. So I'm actually gonna leave the same levels and see if today we will make another attempt at climbing higher towards our second level of resistance. And then we have silver, which pretty wild. Look, it's so far as a negative 1.59% lower, but this is a pretty wide swing from second level of resistance to second level of support, or vice versa if you wish. So therefore, in this scenario, they should also trading lower, beginning to trend lower again. Now I'm just going to use a 50-day moving average, and then basically this opening of this candle from that swing high of the parabolic movement that we saw. Now that we have such a wild swing, initially I'm just going to tighten up our level of resistance to the swing high, and with the upper boundary band is coming towards the market. So that's a pretty wild swing. Profit taking could have also been part of that. And then we have copper having the same sort of a scenario. This could kind of be just probably all of these bots. So therefore, second is going to be that swing low. The first one is 455. We're not at the same levels of resistance. And see, I mean, it could have just been some just big orders coming in, coming out, just washing out, retail traders. So that was a pretty strong washout. Then we have Bitcoin, 110,000 and climbing. So 112 is going to be our first level. 114,000 second. Then 108, which is basically that open. But I'm actually gonna just do 108,000 psychological. Be right there. Then a swing low, which is right about 106,000. I'm gonna use nice movement. So definitely we are in an uptrend in Bitcoin, overbought. So keep that in mind. Euro opened with a small gap down, it has been closed. And so I'm gonna speculate that it's gonna stay within yesterday's range, and that 20-day moving average of the medium volume band giving it a nice level of support. Then we have the pound. So the pound also, I'm gonna tighten up the levels of resistance to the upper boundary band, and that swing high from yesterday, yeah, it's gonna be pretty tight level of resistance, and then that swing low from yesterday, and then 133.5. Let's see if that will be enough for it. Dollar index seems to be holding on, so within yesterday's range. Let's see how much more of it will hold. That's it for me today. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you tomorrow.